Coming to you from the Spit Studios in Vancouver, British Columbia, this is The Spit Show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an exciting episode. I've got to be totally honest. This is a very, very special edition of the show. So the NFL came out with their top 100 players in the league list, and as it always is, it's an absolutely horrendous list, which makes sense. Players have always been the worst at evaluating their peers. That's why the media votes for the awards in every single sport, because these guys are focused on actually playing their sport. They're not watching Red Zone and analyzing these guys the way we as media and fans do. So when I saw this list for the first time, I knew it needed correction, which is why I am debuting the first edition of Spit's Lists. This one listing the real top 10 best players in the NFL through the power of objectivity, eye test, and data. And it starts with number 10, Jalen Hurts. Arguably the best dual threat quarterback in the world right now. I know Lamar Jackson exists, but Hurts is without a doubt the better thrower of the football. And he's not quite as dynamic, but he certainly is in the red zone. 13 rushing touchdowns last year, nearly led the league for all positions. He's an unbelievable leader of men. Every single press conference he's in just oozes confidence and swagger. He's improved every year as a passer, and he had an unbelievable season leading his team to a Super Bowl in which he played the game of his life, nearly outdueling Patrick Mahomes, who you will see later on this list. Jalen Hurts comes in at number 10. Number 9 is the only offensive lineman on this list, and that is Trent Williams, who, if you were to go in a lab and say, create me the best left tackle in the world, something like Trent Williams would come out of that lab. In 871 snaps last year, he allowed 1 sack and only 7 quarterback pressures. At the most important spot on the offensive line, Trent is darn near a perfect football player. Against Micah Parsons in the playoffs, who again, you will see later on this list, he played 15 snaps against Micah, arguably the best defender in the league, and only allowed 1 pressure. He's also great with motioning for extra help on a side. He's got the best feet for any O-lineman in the league his size. And he's a huge reason, no matter who the running back is, San Fran's run game is dominant every single year. Trent Williams comes in at number 9 on Spit's list. I've got Justin Jefferson at number 8 on my list. I don't think he's the best receiver in football. You'll find out who is in just a few spots here. But Jefferson is absolutely unguardable. He has shattered every record for a receiver in his first 3 seasons. Most yards, catches, touchdowns over a receiver's first 3 years ever. He made a top 5 catch I have ever seen in my life on 4th and 18 to help beat the Bills, and he's doing all of this with average or above average quarterback play and no true second option to take the pressure off of him. Everyone knows he's getting the rock 10 times a game, and they still can't stop it. I don't know what the Vikings offense would look like without him. Justin Jefferson comes in at number 8. Number 7 is a guy I had at numbered 1 on this list for 3 years straight, but I can't do it this year because he had a bit of a down year, and that is Aaron Donald. Now, his injury definitely had something to do with it, which is why I didn't kick him out, of the top 10, unlike those lunatics over at NFL.com. He still attracts the most double teams in the NFL, and he's still one of the most devastating run defenders the game has ever seen. Running the ball up the middle, one of the most fundamental plays in football, is made so much harder just by his presence on the field. He has taken over regular season games, playoff games, and Super Bowls, and I think he's still got a year or 2 left at that level. One of the greatest defensive players we've ever seen, Aaron Donald, comes in at number 7. At number 6 is the best wide receiver in the NFL still, Devonte Adams. His 2 years with Rodgers, he was unquestionably the top dog at that position, and he did nothing last year to make me think any different. With his quarterback being Derek Carr, who got benched and then moved so they could replace him with Jimmy Garoppolo, Adams still had 100 catches, 1,500 yards, and 14 touchdowns on a mediocre Raiders team. And like Jefferson, he didn't have a second guy to take the pressure off of him. Waller had a down year. Renfro didn't take the jump a lot of people hoped he would. And yet and still, Devonte managed to put up video game numbers. He's also a pro's pro, one of the least needy great receivers we've seen in years, and he still holds the crown of receivers in my eyes. Devonte Adams comes in at number 6 on this list. Starting off our top 5 is Chris Jones, the best pass rusher in football right now. I don't think that can be debated. He's probably the second most valuable member of the Chiefs' mini dynasty of the last 4 years. He's just a freak of nature at 6'6", 300 pounds of pure manliness. He took over the AFC Championship game against the Bengals last year. The Bengals threw 2-3 linemen at him every single play, and it didn't make a difference. He made Joe Burrow's day suck. There is no chance the Chiefs make it to that Super Bowl, never mind win it, without Chris Jones. The best power and finesse combo on a pass rusher since Aaron Donald's prime. There is also nothing more frustrating as a quarterback than a pass being batted down, and he does that better than anyone in the world. Chris Jones starts our top 5. Number 4 is the best receiving tight end the world has ever seen, Travis Kelce. He is the single biggest cheat code in the NFL offensively to me. He's too big to the point where if you put a corner on him, he and Mahomes have such great wavelength that he can put it in a spot where only Kelce can catch it. And if you play a linebacker on him, he's going to create 3 yards of separation 9 times out of 10 because of how smooth and technically sound he is. The way he can drop his hips and get in and out of breaks is the best we've ever seen at that position. Whenever Mahomes needs a big play in the biggest games, everyone knows where the ball is going, and it just doesn't matter because Kelce and Andy Reid are going to find some way to get him open. The best pass catcher in football is a tight end, and he comes in at number 4 on the list. The most versatile defender in recent memory, Micah Parsons, begins this list top 3. As a pass rusher, he led the league in pressure percentage last season with 17.4, but he's probably 5th behind Jones, Garrett, Bosa, and Donald when it comes to pure pass rushers. But what makes Micah so unique is the fact that he's a top 5 pass rusher while being a top 5 drop and coverage guy as a linebacker. He takes up so much space on the field, and his pursuit instincts and speed are the best in the league right now, and it's not real close. Whenever I am watching a Cowboys game and rooting against them, which is pretty much every Cowboys game, nothing scares me more than number 11 lined up about to rush that quarterback. Coming off the edge, he's like a young Von Miller, and dropping into coverage like Luke Kuechly is not a combination I thought we would see. But here he is. This freak of nature is upon us. Micah Parsons starts off our top 3. Number 2 is the most prototypical quarterback in recent memory and the best pocket passer in the NFL today, Joe Burrow. He is the second best player in the NFL right now. In his first 3 years starting, here are his offensive line rankings by Pro Football Focus. 30th, 20th, and 23rd in the league. And this is for a guy who, like I said, is not a real mobile quarterback. He does his damage from the pocket. And even with some of the worst O-lines in the league, he has been able to turn a historically mediocre franchise into one of the NFL's premier contenders every year. In his 2 healthy seasons, he has been to a Super Bowl and an AFC Championship game where he lost because of a dumb penalty to the guy who is above him on this list. Since he entered the league, he has the 3rd most passing yards, 3rd most touchdown passes, and the 2nd highest passer rating. He's also tough as nails. It seems like he's got all the intangibles a top-tier quarterback needs, and he's not even in his prime yet. Joe Montana 3.0 is the 2nd best football player in the world. Patrick Mahomes has made lists like these frustrating to me, to be honest, because the point of a countdown 10-1 is to get the audience thinking, oh, he already named a guy, so who's he going to put at number 1? And Patrick Mahomes has screwed that up because he is so far and beyond every other guy in the league at this point. Since entering the league, he leads in every stat. He's only lost 16 games in his career, and he has the highest career passer rating ever. And last year was simply his masterpiece. After the Chiefs lost Tyreek Hill in the offseason, the popular consensus was the Chiefs were going to take a step back. Even I believed it. But Mahomes, while throwing to a bunch of rejects and rookies, Sky Moore, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Kadarius Toney were his top 3 receiving weapons, with cameras following him both on and off the field constantly for a whole season, a documentary being filmed about him, and his ankle being about 70% for the majority of his playoff run. He still won the MVP, won the Super Bowl, and won the Super Bowl MVP. There is nothing like this guy in the NFL right now. He has transcended the sport to the point where you can only really compare him with guys like Shohei Ohtani and Kylian Mbappe for who is the best athlete in the world right now. the best quarterback ever, Patrick Mahomes, is the best football player in the world. Surprise, surprise. So what did you guys think of the list? Who would you add? Who would you remove? How would you flip up the order? Any suggestions at all, please let me know. As always, thank you so much for watching. The Spit Sports Show comes at you 3 times a week. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you again.